Are live. Yes, we are. All right. Good morning, everybody on YouTube. We are live here with Jack Holder, Pearl Harbor survivor. All around good guy. How old are you, Jack?
98.
98 years old.
Be 99 in December.
Yes, we are.
99 in December, still going.
Very nice.
All right, good morning.
Very nice.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Donnie.
Are you holding up well during this whole quarantine coronavirus deal?
I'm staying close to home. It's getting a little boring, but yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's why we're doing these Zoom conversations, because it gives you guys an opportunity to share your story of yourself and also your brothers and sisters that that served during World War II. So I know it's been a tough, what, 3-4 months now, I think it is. Is it 3 months? Yeah. 3-4 months? Yeah. So this is a great way to to get you out a little bit. I mean, virtually, but we've been doing it for a few months, and it's been going by really well, and we enjoy it. And a lot of the community, they love to come on and give them an opportunity to ask you a question. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's good to have you here today with us.
Well, it's a pleasure for me. I'm very happy to do it, Donnie.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, I've just sent out the Zoom link in the chat section. So people, if you want to join this conversation, ask Jack a question. The Zoom link is right over on the side. Click on that and we'll let people in one at a time. But let's hear a little bit about you, Jack, so people know a little bit more about you.
Okay.
Tell us a little about your service.
From the beginning?
Yeah.
Well, I grew up on a farm, and I soon learned that farming was not going to be my vocation, which is all work and no money. And I've seen a few pictures of how glorious it was in the Navy, and I decided that was going to be what I was going to join. 18 years old, fresh out of high school. April 24, I signed the Navy, and on my way to San Diego boot camp.
Very nice.
And that's where I'm at right now. I'm living right here in San Diego, and here in San Diego back in December when we did our San Diego program.
Yeah.
To the USS Midway, and went to a school down in East Lake and spoke to hundreds of kids. What was it like for you to be back in San Diego after all those years?
Yeah. When I joined the Navy and when I got to San Diego, they took me quickly to Naval Training Station, of course. Got all my uniforms and all this. The doctor examined me. It so happened that the last job I had prior to joining the Navy, I was cutting prickly pears in Texas with a long-handled shovel, piling the pears and letting them dry and burning them so the cattle couldn't eat them. I had calluses on my hands you couldn't believe. A doctor looked at them and he said, "What in the hell have you been doing?" He then said, "You got appendicitis." I went to the Naval Hospital and spent a month. A month there, when a month was up, I started a 2-month period of boot camp training. Boot camp is a little boring sometimes. It's a lot of hard work, but it teaches discipline. In fact, it turns a boy into a man, and it's certainly necessary.
Absolutely. And where'd you do your boot camp at?
That was in San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah. It's right next to MCRD, and now it's called Liberty Station. I want to say 20 years ago, they converted the Naval Center there to restaurants and breweries and things like that. Next time you're in San Diego, I'll take you by there. I'm sure you'll have some memories walking around, because they still utilize the same buildings and everything. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, well, incidentally, I'll be there October the 3rd on the carrier Midway.
Midway.
Selling
cool.
books.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
October 3rd and 4th. Uh-huh.
Well, fantastic. Well, I'll make sure I know about it, and we'll make
Yeah.
sure, we'll see you as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Very cool. Well, we
yeah.
got a lot of people waiting already.
Yeah. So, Jack, you remember these cards that we did for you?
I sure do.
Yeah. So, this is something that we do with the Best Defense Foundation. For every veteran that goes back on program with us, we create these veteran cards for them. And as you guys know, I played pro football, and, we had football cards, and I thought it was pretty cool, because there's a picture, the picture of you, and on the back, there's a little short bio. So we make these cards for every veteran, and it's unique to them. So this is Jack Holder's here. He's holding the picture. How old were you in this picture here? 18?
18 years old.
18 years old. And on the back here is, let me see if I can get that.
You got to put it like over your body, so it's not trying. Yeah, like that.
There you go.
So
on
eliminate the
here,
background.
yeah, on the back, it's all unique to Jack there. Matter of fact, if you got a second, I'll just read the bio. Jack Holder, flight engineer, Catalina Flying Boat, PBY 5A, United States Navy. Jack Holder joined the Navy in 1940 as a machinist and became a flight engineer on a PBY 5A Catalina, stationed at Pearl Harbor on 7th December 1941. Jack was in an airplane hangar on Ford Island when the first bomb of the attack exploded in the hangar next to him. Jack ran outside and was shocked to see all the attacking planes with the rising sun markings. After the attack, Jack and 2 sailors manned a machine gun emplacement on the beach for 3 days, expecting an invasion of the Japanese to follow. Jack participated in the Battle of Midway and 48 missions over Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands as a PBY flight engineer. Jack then trained on B-24 Liberators and flew another 56 anti-submarine missions over the English Channel. He was honorably discharged March 5th, 1948.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And we had Jack, the opportunity to take Jack back for the 78th commemoration of the attack on Pearl Harbor this past December. Yep. Jack, how was that for you going back to Pearl Harbor this past December?
Glorious trip, Donnie. I still remember, still enjoy it. It brings back memories, and but every time I see it, I love it.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, you certainly represent yourself, and you represent all your brothers and sisters that are no longer here by telling your story and keeping them alive. That's what we continue to do with the Best Defense Foundation. We're all about taking care of the ones who took care of us. And we want to make sure that, that we pass it on to the next generation, the stories, the education, everything. So it's very, very important. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
I'm sure happy to do what little things that I can do for it, Donnie. I'm happy to do everything.
Well, all you got to do is just keep yourself going, keep yourself healthy, keep moving, keep sharing your story, and we'll keep doing this.
Okay.
Absolutely. But let's start bringing some people in. We got a lot of people waiting. Let's bring some people in and have them ask you questions. So we'll bring in our first person here. It's like Tobias.
Hey.
Hey, Tobias, how you doing?
Hi.
You are live with Jack Holder.
Hey, Mr. Holder. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Colombia.
Okay.
Yeah, in South America, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, yeah.
How old are you?
First, excuse me?
How old are you, sir?
I'm 16 years old.
Awesome.
And
Go ahead.
Mr. Holder, you're 98, right?
I was 16 at one time.
Yeah, you were. But that's a long life you have lived, Mr. Yeah.
Yes, he has.
Oh yeah, a lot more living to do.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, Mr. Holder, first of all, big thank you for your service to not only to the nation, but to the whole world. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, so I have a few questions. So first of all, I would like to talk about you. So why did you join the Navy? Like you were not US. Yeah, okay.
I've told this so many times to the young generation like you and even younger. My father was a farmer. I grew up on the farm. And if you know anything about farming, especially how it was in the days I grew up, it's nothing but hard work and no money. And I soon learned that I wasn't going to spend all of my life on a farm. I've seen some beautiful pictures of what the Navy had to offer, and I decided that was for me. As soon as I could convince my mother that was the thing to do, I joined the Navy, April 24, 1940, fresh out of high school.
1940.
Wow. So you grew up in the Great Depression, right? Was it difficult time for you?
Gasoline, 15 cents a gallon. Ice cream cone was 10 cents. Movie, 15 cents. I grew up in a shack, just for a moment here. I grew up in a small four-room shack that my father built. No electricity, no telephone. We had kerosene lamps to light the house. We had an outdoor toilet. We take a bath, we bring in a galvanized tub, pour water in it, and take a bath. Had a wood burning stove to heat the house, another wood burning stove to cook on. Like I said, and no telephone, I think. 1 mile, it was 1 mile to the closest telephone.
1 mile.
So in addition to that, we didn't even have a key to the front door. That was life then. My father had a Model T Ford. Later on, he graduated to a 28 model Chevrolet that I learned to drive in.
That's awesome.
It was a primitive life.
Yeah. Do you have any brothers, siblings? Do you
I
have?
have no brothers or sisters. I'm the only child.
You're
wow,
only
okay.
child? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that must be hard because yeah, yeah. So okay, I don't know what to ask. Yeah. Do you think that
in comparison, like from what our world is, because this really wasn't that long ago.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, in comparison to the big picture, that was not that long ago. To think how much the world has changed since then.
Dramatically.
Like for us to think of anybody living that way it's mind blowing.
It's primitive.
Yeah. But it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's still alive. So
I mean, think about what he's lived and what he's seen.
yeah.
I mean, imagine for Jack when the first microwave came out in the late 70s. Think about that, right? The microwave.
Yeah.
The microwave. Like,
I think that's in every single person's home now.
The first refrigerator came out. The
oh,
first
I'm sorry, refrigerator.
machine was a
I
Maytag.
think, like, in my opinion,
one cylinder, very small cylinder with put, you know, and ladies washing clothes. And of course, the refrigerator is one that had the big casket up on top of the refrigerator, you know, but the world has changed.
Yeah, of course. But I think that your past, basically your childhood, that hard past help you build your character, like all of your generation. That's why it's called the greater generation, because come on, you came from nothing and you basically took the world, and it's just a big accomplishment.
Inspiring.
So yeah, a lot. Yeah.
And we all grow up in these comfy homes and complain about our lives.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Like for me, having a refrigerator, it's normal, but
yeah.
But like you, Mr. Foley, Mr. Holder, it's it was hard. I know. Yeah. So
Very
Mr.
cool.
Mr. Holder,
So Jack, what do you think about what Tobias said about like your generation? I mean, think about you guys, right? So we call you guys greatest generation.
yeah.
Number one, you guys were all, depression, Great Depression babies. I mean, that's how you guys started, like at the beginning, you're born, the 30s come around, the Great Depression, and people are standing in line for soup, and then all of a sudden we get thrown into this war,
Yeah.
And I mean, what does it say about like your generation and all the stuff that you've been through? It's like Tobias said about like all the challenging parts of your life, to give you character to live the whole rest of your life, and to being able to accomplish anything, by looking at your past and say, hey, we made it through here, we can make it through anything.
Yeah. And what was the question on that, Donnie?
Yeah, the question was like, all the stuff that you've been through in your life. I mean, does all the things help you? Did it help you?
Oh, yeah.
Live your life, to go through things in life after the service?
Very much. I think that was proper preparation for it. I look back on all the things that I went through and everything, and I can, I have a pleasure and enjoy the things of life now, how they've changed. So yes, I think it was, in a way, it was a blessing.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
wasn't something that you asked for.
That's right.
You got it. See, for me, Jack, like, playing pro football, and I look at some of the hard times, the adversity that I went through in my life by playing ball. And then I look to my life as I go on with my journey of living. And when I get in a tough time, I always look back to a specific incident, that I overcame when I thought that I wasn't going to be able to make it. And I made it, and I succeeded. And when I look back at that, that gives me so much strength and power to attack anything.
That's
So
right.
that for you, like going through the bombing, I mean, you're a Pearl Harbor survivor. You were right there on Ford Island on December 7th, 1941. Do you ever look back at that to give you strength to keep going?
You bet. Every day.
Awesome.
I want to tell you a story here. When I was growing up as a young child, my friend here just reminded me. In my room, I had a cane bottom chair, was part of the furniture in there. That was probably the most decorative one. I had no table or console or anything by my bed, but had a cane bottom chair there. And I woke up one Christmas morning for my Christmas presents. I had an apple and an orange in this chair. That was my Christmas.
Wow.
An apple and an orange for Christmas.
Yeah.
And was that like exciting for you?
Was
that like a big deal for you?
Oh yeah, that was more than I expected, I guess.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I mean, we've come a long way.
My mother sold butter to the local grocery store, Phillips grocery store, traded butter for Staples, But
wow.
And I'm responsible for some of this. I sat there and worked that churn up and down for an hour, I say, Mother, I think it's about ready. She said, no, keep going. It's not quite ready. She molded this in a pound molder, wrote her name on it, traded it to the grocery store, and people would come in, and they ordered the butter by the name that was on it. If they wanted, somebody come in and says, I want one pound of that whole butter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Well, Jack, it's so cool hearing like the history of what you guys lived, and just being that it's in your lifetime still. And it seems like so long ago for us, but in big picture, yeah, it's just not that long. It's wild. But Tobias, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to try and bring some more people in. It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you so much, Mr. Holder. Thank you, Donnie. Thank you, Austin, for this.
Absolutely.
Tobias,
Yes.
I'm the
sir.
author of a book. If you'd like to have one, Donnie can give you the address there, and or give me her address, I guess. And the book's normally $20, but I'd like to send you one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you very much, sir.
Very
I
cool.
would,
Yeah,
contact
Tobias,
you.
hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or
Yeah.
something, and we'll get you connected.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much, all. Yeah.
Bye. Pretty cool, huh, Jack?
Yes.
All the way from Colombia.
16 years old from Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. He's joined us a couple other times before, and he's the future. His generation is the future, and it's very nice to hear someone who cares so much who wants to be a part.
Well, that's
All
what
right.
some of the presentations I've made, they talk about
Yeah.
the generation with a great. Oh,
Oh, we got someone coming in, and Steven?
Steven, how you doing?
Can
Donnie,
you hear us, Steven?
Holder.
Well, sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. And Stephen Brousseau's the name, and being excited to be here is the game.
All right.
Yep,
Yeah, we like.
that's me, Stephen Brousseau.
Yeah,
All right, you're on with
good.
Jack Holder.
we have.
Very nice to talk with you face to face. Yeah, I can.
All right, cool. You're on with Jack Holder. You got a question for him?
oh, yeah. Again, what was your name now?
Oh, he's on delay. You got to tell him he's on delay. Awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, he has to watch it from his phone.
Oh, I can't hear anything. Steven, you got a question for Jack?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. My name is Stephen Brousseau, and I am very pleased to meet you, Mr. Holder. And just so you know, I've conducted 27 interviews with World War II. Yeah, I do. How did your excuse me. Okay, sorry, there was some noise in the background.
Okay.
So, first of all, it is really great to be here, Mr. Holder.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you.
And it is a pleasure to talk with the guy who was at Pearl Harbor, Midway, the Solomons, and in Europe. And I have a question. How has your experience in the Pacific and Europe changed your life?
How has it changed it?
Yes.
Well, the first thing I think it enabled you to appreciate everything in life much more. Having survived all of the conflict, it gives you a new vision of life, and as I said, it prepares you for what's ahead, and it's really an education, and as a nice one.
And did you expect to make it through the war and live all these years later and eventually write an autobiography?
Did I say again now?
Did you expect to live this long after the war? Did you expect to live?
Not at all. Many years ago, I asked myself, do you think you'll live till the turn of the century? but here I am 20 years past the turn. So
There you go.
Hey,
quite a surprise.
I love it.
Sure was.
However, one of my grandmothers, my mother's mother, lived to be 99 and 10 months. I'm gonna outdo her.
There you go. 99, 10 months. You're gonna hit that 100.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
You're gonna have a big party.
That's right.
great. So, Mr. Holder, what is it like for you to be 98? Do you feel like you're 98?
No, not really.
How do you feel?
I still do things that I guess probably I shouldn't be doing, but I enjoy it. And
This guy did live push-ups on television when he was like, what was he, like 95 at the time when we were in Pearl Harbor, and like on the NFL broadcast, he started doing push-ups with the young Marines. Just a baller, man. Just a straight baller.
This guy did
Yeah.
did push-ups at 95?
Yeah, he did push-ups like on air.
Get
Like,
outta
he
here.
wasn't going to let those young Marines show him up.
Oh yeah, live on air. It was NFL Sunday.
All right, man, you show who's the greatest.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and he was doing pull-ups.
Terry Bradshaw says, I can't believe I just seen a gentleman doing push-ups at 95. He says, I can't even do them myself.
Yeah. That was probably me that said that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Holder, I just wanted to let you know I've actually, I've actually tried to contact you a few times to see if to see if I could do a one-on-one interview sometime. And I've interviewed 27 World War II combat veterans, both in person and over the phone. And would you sometime be interested in doing a one-on-one interview sometime
Be happy
over the
to.
phone?
Be happy to.
Making love connections here. That's good.
Yeah. And what I'll do with the interview is that I'm going to do a portrait of you and maybe illustrate parts of your story and so on and so forth. Donnie and Austin, they really love my drawings.
He's a good drawer.
Yeah, he is. He is for sure. I was trying to find that picture of you doing the push-ups. But yeah, maybe we'll post it up on social media today after, like in the stories or something of Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
So, when Jack was doing push-ups against the Navy and the Marines, I believe, right on air. It was beautiful. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Steven, we're gonna try and bring some more people in. You got any other questions for him right now?
Yes.
All right, hit him with one more.
Would you consider your generation to be the greatest generation?
Ooh.
Uh,
Do you agree with that title?
who created it?
Tom Brokaw.
You agree?
Oh, yes, I do agree. Matter of fact, I was giving a presentation at the Veterans Center in Washington, D.C., and I told the group that, yes, I agree that we were the greatest generation, but all of you young folk out there could be the next greatest generation.
And you know what? Great generations like that come in all shapes and sizes. And
That's right.
It's only like once a century that we have a generation like yours.
Yeah.
Hopefully there won't be another generation that has to get called up to something as intense that they had to get called up to.
I hope not.
Yeah, but I think the next greatest generation can be maybe known for something different, not have to go through such a time of peril.
Yeah.
Yeah, because war is not pretty. It's not at all. It's
Not at all.
It's the worst.
Every war is different, but they're all hell.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely honor these guys for what they did, and we look at history for what it is, but we definitely don't glorify the war. I mean, it's not a good thing.
And the service and sacrifice to be called up to defend, your nation and your brothers. And they did it. And subsequently, a lot of other people have stood up, since then. And we want to make sure with Best Defense that we continue to honor all veterans. Obviously, we're focused on our World War II because they're the oldest, but it's all about honoring and taking care of all the ones who served this great nation.
Sure.
Sure.
I've had so many people tell me, hero and all that, but I don't consider that. And when I joined the Navy, I signed an oath of allegiance, signed a pledge, I just tried to live up to that.
Well, you certainly did, for sure. And your generation that set precedents, for the rest of the military and men and women who serve our great nation. They look back to the strength and what you guys accomplished back in World War II. And trust me, they understand that, and they don't want to let you down. And that's why they continue to fight. And, we're just so blessed to have people, men and women, step up. And we want to thank them. I mean, we're all civilians. We're all volunteers with Best Defense Foundation, just trying to pay it forward, So thank you, sir.
Sure.
Well, thank you.
All right, Stephen, thanks for coming by. We're going to get some more people in. If you want to say one last thing to Jack, go ahead.
Well, it was very nice to be here with you guys, especially Mr. Holder. And I just have one more question. What was it like to be a consultant for the movie Midway, the Roland Emmerich film?
I was honored to have that position. I enjoyed it, and even that brought back a lot of memories. But I enjoyed it.
Good.
Very cool.
And Jack, what'd you think about the movie?
I think it's probably 80 or 85% correct.
It's pretty good.
A couple of things that I wasn't too happy with. First of all, in combat, you don't fly a dive bomber around with the canopy open, and you certainly have the helmet button. They're not flying in the breeze. And I was very disappointed, being a PBY crewman, that they didn't show the PBYs more. The Battle of Midway could have been a hell of a lot different if we hadn't found the fleet.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, Stephen, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure, man.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you,
All
Steve.
right.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yeah. Hopefully Steven could draw a little portrait of Jack. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
The artwork is fantastic.
Yeah.
Good work, Steven.
Very cool. All right, let's bring another one in here. We know this guy. Oh, is sporting his new D-Day Walk shirt.
Looking good there, Connor.
Hey, Connor.
How are you?
We're doing well. How about you?
I'm doing very well.
This is Mr. Jack Holder. Why don't you tell him how old you are and where you live?
What's up, Jack Holder? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, son?
Doing good. I'm 15 years old. I live in Lafayette, Louisiana, but I heard that you're a pilot, and this is my great-grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
He has since passed away now, but
Yeah.
his generation will never be forgotten because he was in General Doolittle's 8th Air Force in Europe,
Oh, yeah.
30 missions. And I got this patch here. It says, I support the veterans from the foundation.
Oh, man, that's great.
PDF patch.
All right.
Very cool.
And I also like to thank you for your service and protecting our country. It means a lot. And
Yeah.
I've
I think
got this, the Naval Museum.
yeah.
I've got this. All these hats are from Florida. I've got
Very good, sir.
a collection. Got the Johnny Kennedy USS and the Rescue Summer Instructor hat.
Dang, you got a lot of hats.
Cool, man. You got a nice collection there, Connor.
Yeah.
And this is the flag.
Everything except the white sailor's cap.
I got this.
Very cool, Connie. You got a question for Jack?
Yes, I got questions.
Go ahead.
I'm very interested in ancestry too. So, Jack, can you tell me who your parents' names were?
He asked what your parents' names were, Jack.
What?
Mom and dad's name.
Oh, my mother's name was Maggie, but she didn't like it. She changed it to Margaret.
Oh,
My
okay.
father's name was John Emmett.
John Emmett.
And how long did they live, sir?
My father was 73, my mother 74.
Oh, okay.
Wow, you definitely breaking that train.
Yeah.
Wow.
My father was a World War veteran.
Oh,
He
wow.
told me, he didn't talk too much about it, but he told me he spent 1 year crawling through the mud in France. He was in a machine gun squad.
Oh, wow. He was in World War One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I have questions about your service. And I know that you served at Pearl Harbor, but who was your commanding officer at Midway?
Did you hear that, Jack?
Well, we really didn't have, I don't think you quite understand it. We really didn't have a commanding officer at Midway. The commanding officer at Midway was in charge of all the personnel there. My commanding officer was still the commanding officer from Fort Allen, VP 23.
Oh, okay.
Did you?
Massey Hughes was his name, from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And did you fly with Wade McCluskey?
No.
Oh.
My career was in patrol aircraft. His was a dive bomber.
Oh, wow. Wow. So when you what's the question? When you sank 3 Japanese carriers, what happened next?
When what?
When you sank 3 Japanese carriers, what happened?
Well, when we found the we got to start off. We got to Midway on the 26th of May, and found the fleet on the 3rd day of search. I was in the 2nd aircraft to spot the fleet. The 1st aircraft that spotted it, when they sent their message, the message was garbled. We sent a message that went through. So we sent ours to the carrier Yorktown and back to Midway, and did get credit for reporting the fleet, yeah.
And I've heard you mention about Admiral Spruance calling Admiral Nimitz. Can you tell me about?
Yeah, excuse me. Admiral Halsey, you know, was back in the hospital with shingles. He couldn't man his own ship, the Enterprise. And Spruance, first of all, Nimitz says, he went to the hospital to see him. He says, "Who can I get to replace you?" He said, "Get Admiral Spruance." He says, "Hell, he's a cruiser captain." He says, "It doesn't matter." Says he runs them fast enough to stay up with my carrier. So he was on the Spruance. I mean, he was on the Enterprise. And sometime after they had sunk the 3 carriers, he called Nimitz and says, "Admiral, we've had a good day. We just sunk 3 carriers. Do you think that's enough?" He said, "Hell no, I want the 4th one."
Uh-oh. Bad.
Get them all.
Yeah.
And when you were at Guadalcanal, who was your commanding officer? And can you elaborate about the commanding officer, please?
Who was the commanding officer?
At Guadalcanal.
Well, Guadalcanal, when we went to New Caledonia to stationed there. Seaplanes like this, they don't go ashore. We're tied up in the bay to a buoy, tendered by a seaplane tender, which was the Curtis. Admiral Gormley was the commanding officer of all of the forces at Guadalcanal at the time. For the first 2 months, we were definitely losing the battle. Admiral Gormley had never even been on the island of Guadalcanal. He finally sent a communication to Emmerich saying he couldn't handle it any longer. He was immediately relieved by Admiral Halsey. Halsey he came to the Curtis, met every one of us, shook hands with everybody, immediately moved my squadron, VP-23, to Espiritu Santo, which was much closer to Guadalcanal. He then went to the island, Guadalcanal, visited every unit on it, and he says, we'll no longer allow the enemy to call the shots. He says, we'll kill every son of a bitch on this island, and I'll be right there with you.
Oh, wow.
That's
Sounds like
amazing, the memory you have, Jack.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
I can hardly remember last week, and he's just like
Wow.
spouting off all these intricate details. Like, man.
But and he did. He was one of my heroes. In my opinion, he and General Patton should have been brothers. They thought alike, had no use for politics, strictly military. So I think they both did a good job.
Wow.
And Jack Holder, what were your thoughts at Pearl Harbor once you first came in?
Well, son, you can imagine what a paradise like Pearl Harbor looked like to a farm boy who had never seen anything but cotton and corn and barley growing in a field, running a cultivator, a turning plow, working at a thrashing machine. All the beauty in Hawaii, you can't believe. All the pretty flowers, pineapple fields, beautiful beaches, beautiful girls. It was paradise.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
no,
Wow.
it's amazing. On December 7th, it was a beautiful Sunday morning when the Japanese attacked. Jack, talk about what your thoughts were on that morning. Do you think it was a drill at first, and then? I mean,
No. I had to duty that day, of course, and we had just fell in for muster in our hangar. When the section leader began roll call, we immediately heard a screaming aircraft. We thought probably it was one of our own craft, so out of control, probably going to crash. And just moments later, the first bomb that fell in Pearl Harbor fell in VP-21's hangar next to mine. It was a terrible explosion. We all ran outside and seen what had happened. The Japanese aircraft circling overhead with the rising sun insignia. We knew exactly what had happened. It was complete surprise, of course. Everything in the world goes through your mind. Surprise, anger, whatever. So happens that VP-21's hangar was empty. The crews were in the Philippines on advanced base training. It parked between the two hangars was our aircraft, 12 brand new PBYs. They were only 2 weeks old. We just returned from San Diego with them. PBYs construction, the trailing edge of the wing is fabric. Half of our aircraft, fabric was burning off the aircraft at that time, other damages, but that was it. It so happened that one of my shipmates remember that there was a sewer line under construction behind our hangar. He says, let's go for the ditch, follow me. We all ran, jumped in the ditch, sit there clinging to each other. And I've been asked so many times, I guess, what my thoughts were at this time. And what I remember is praying that God, I said, God, please don't let me die in this ditch. It so happened that one of the aircraft seen us, circled, straked the ditch with machine gun fire. He missed us by probably 3 feet. He hit the dirt that was piled up beside the ditch. I can still see him coming in.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how long we was in the ditch, but when we came out, I seen devastation that you cannot believe. From our docking point, from our hangar, you could look down it and see all of Battleship Row. The Arizona, West Virginia, Tennessee, Nevada, all on fire, all sinking. The California on fire. The Oklahoma was hit, it was really damaged. It turned turtle up. The keel was up. And it so happened that immediately we had construction crews out on top of the bottom of the ship, cutting holes in it to rescue stranded seamen. They rescued a lot of them, but 404 of them did not escape.
Oh my God.
At any rate, I seen the Arizona sinking, of course, and the others. Also seen seamen in the water, trying to reach shore, swimming through burning oil in the water. Some of them died in the water. Some died when they hit the beach. And of course, some of them made it, but that was a devastation I saw and I'll never forget.
Unbelievable. It is a devastation. War is certainly not very pretty at all.
Yeah.
You know, my great grandfather told a whole bunch of stories about World War II,
Yeah,
and he has experienced a whole bunch of horrible things. War is certainly not pretty, and I don't recommend it.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
For sure.
And another thing, I've heard Jack Holder mention about an admiral called Husband Kimmel. Did he actually get to know him at Pearl Harbor?
I never did. I met the gentleman. But I didn't really know him. He was our commander out there, and you know, after the war, son, I had a lot of hatred for Kimmel. I blamed him for all the attack, but come to find out, he never knew any more about the coming attack than I did. So his course martial and his everything was rescinded, and of course it's too late then.
Oh, wow. And about your decorations, what meant the most to you after during the war?
Well, I have several. I guess probably the Distinguished Flying Cross is.
You want to point that out on your jacket?
Pardon?
Point it out on your jacket.
Oh, this is a DC. This is a Distinguished Flying Cross here, and the star represents also a Distinguished Flying Cross, which means I got two. The next one is
That's all right. You're kind of at a weird angle.
yeah.
Upside down.
Yeah. That's all right, Jack, if you can't.
Citation. The second is air medal, which I got 9. The next one is Asiatic Pacific, and I can't see the ones down below there, but
It's all right.
I have 19. That's all.
Wow.
Jack. So have you met a guy named Halsey Best, Richard Halsey Best? I know he was commanding another squadron at Midway, but did you get to meet him or greet him? And what, if so, what was he like?
Admiral, who now?
His name was Richard Halsey Best. He was commanding another squadron. He was with Wade McCluskey at the time at Midway. Did you get to meet him?
He was in Dauntlesses.
I still don't know who you said.
I don't think you heard the name, Connor.
No.
Say the name.
Commander Best.
Beth?
Yeah, he was in a bomber squadron.
No, I didn't know him though.
Oh, okay.
I'd heard the name, but I didn't know him.
Oh,
All
okay.
right, cool. Well, Connor, we're gonna move on to another one here. If you want to say one last thing.
All right. I was thinking about keeping in touch with him. How do I do that?
If you want to send us a message, we'll get you connected with him.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jack's also he's written a book as well.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's written a book as well.
Where do people buy your book, Jack?
Where can they buy your book?
How do they buy it?
Yep.
A different way. They get it from Amazon, but they can also get an autographed copy from me. All they do is contact me and I send them an autographed copy.
All right.
There you go.
I send them every week.
All right. Cool.
Great job, and you're telling your story. And Connor, it's always great to have you on. You're the next generation. You're the future. From learning from the experiences of what Jack and his generation has gone through, and applying it to your life, as you go down your journey of life, man, it's just going to be so wonderful. So thank you for your interest. We love your passion, and keep it up. You have anything left to say to Jack Holder before we go?
All right, Jack. It was a nice thing and a dream to talk to you. And thank you for what you've done. And thank you for telling your story, because it really means a lot to me. And the sad part is that a lot of my friends just don't want to hear, but I do, because this man right here has got me through the interest. So thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for protecting our country.
Well, thank you, son. It's a pleasure talking to you. I'm impressed with the routes you're taking. You're doing great. You're doing great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks, Connor. So cool. Just so cool.
Yeah. How old is
Jack, I'm
Yep.
putting this picture of a PBY on here. Why don't you tell people a little about what they're looking at there?
That's a PBY 5A.
Is that the kind you flew?
No, mine was not. Mine was PBY 5. It did not. This one has fixed landing gear. Mine had beaching gear.
Oh, okay.
PBY, straight PBY 5. You can see behind the trailing edge of the wing there, the blister, the big plexiglass blister. The one on each side there. Inside of that is a 50 caliber machine gun, and in the nose and there's a 30 caliber machine gun. It's also the station for the bombardier, the bomb sight, a 30 caliber machine gun, and that's all equipment in the aircraft. You didn't see it, but my office is right at the little hole you seen right up under the wing.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. How many people fit on one of those?
The crew of 9.
Crew of 9. Okay. Well, cool. We got Adam here. Adam, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello,
Awesome.
Jack.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing good.
You looking good?
Thank you. and I'm also wearing this.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yes, after like maybe month or two of waiting for an interview and getting this washed, I could finally wear this.
Yeah, you're waiting to get it watched. That's
Yes. And I also have this, the
Oh,
challenge coin I got from the what was
Very
it, the live walk thing.
nice.
Yeah.
See on the back,
Yes.
read what it says on the back.
Pardon?
Can you read what it says on the back of that coin?
This side?
Yep. Can you read that?
Read it.
This side?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
read what it says
Good
around the
thing.
ring.
It says, never forget taking care of the ones who took care of us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we're all about with the Best Defense Foundation, you know, because we're so blessed to live this wonderful life. I mean, if you've been following the chat today, Jack was talking about the past and, I mean, not having a refrigerator and farming. I mean, you think about the things that we don't even think about today, you know, outhouses. I mean, we are so lucky. And it's just wonderful to have someone like Jack with us today and telling the story. So,
Yes.
there.
My grandpa, he was in the army in Europe, and when he was growing up, he had to eat food that didn't taste good during the Depression. And there's a story my dad says where one Christmas all he got was a winter coat, and that was it. And I was like, dang, just a winter coat for Christmas, and I get what, 10, 15 Christmas presents every year?
As long as you wash them right, you can wear them.
Yes.
The one I remember, I told a gentleman a while ago, the one Christmas I remember when I was a young lad, probably even younger than you. And beside my bed, we had a cane bottom chair. You know what that is? You ever see one? Cane bottom chair. Just
No.
a straight chair like this, but it's just made out of from cane. It wrapped the building, constructed.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Anyway, the Christmas morning I woke up, I had an apple and an orange laying in my chair.
Did they taste good?
Probably tasted amazing.
Yeah, good Christmas.
Best apple he's ever had.
Yes.
Absolutely. So Adam, you got a question for Jack?
Yes. One of my questions is, how long were you in the Pacific and European theaters?
Together or separate?
Uh,
I went
together or
to
separate? Either way.
Pearl Harbor, December the 12th, 1940, and
Okay.
left in January of 1943.
Okay.
Went to San Diego and moved from there to Argentina, Newfoundland for 2 months. Got to England, April 23, 1943, and left England 15 months later.
Got it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, 1943 was the same year my grandpa joined the army. He was a mechanic at the time, and I think he was making dyes for the military. And due to that, he wasn't drafted. But people kept on asking, you're physically fit, you're young, you're healthy, why aren't you serving? And he just finally said, you know what, I'm just going to join the army. And he joined the army, became a combat engineer, was deployed to Europe in, I think like late 44. And then he was deployed to Europe for the Bulge, served in Patton's Third Army. And I think he was Rhineland campaign too. And then he was discharged in, I think 46, I think it was.
I had a wonderful experience last fall, son.
Right.
I got to go to Paris and to Omaha, Normandy Beach, see all that. I'd flown over it before, but I was never on it. This was an education for me, and it so happened that one of the gentlemen that was in our group viewing all this served as part of the fleet, part of the forces that landed there.
Got it.
He gave me quite an education. And I also learned of something that I'd never heard of before, one of the groups, the 89th Division, when they landed, the whole division was wiped out. Every man.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
This gentleman that was telling me all this was wounded in the assault, shot through the neck, sent back to England, spent 2 months, then come right back to France.
Wow. Yes. We also last year my high school band was invited to play for the 75th anniversary of France. And if you give me 1 second, I actually have a newspaper article from my school district. And I was looking for the first copy we got, and I was like, I can't find it. So I just threw it away. And later on they said, you're in the newspaper. Like, this is me right here at one of the graves we were given. So the thing was we were each given a bag of sand from Missouri. And we were told that when you go over there, you're going to find this name of the soldier who was from Missouri, and you're going to spread the sand on the grave and whatever. And when I heard people were saying I was in the paint like this, I was like, wait, what? I just didn't want to damage the first one, but eventually just gave up. But someone gave me their copy, and I have this clipping right here.
Hold it up again for me.
Hold it up to the camera. You couldn't see it.
Sure thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
I've seen several cemeteries there, and one of them had over 30,000 German in it. One of the Americans was over 6,000. It's nothing, tombstones as far as you can see.
There is a story about this German, and there's an autobiography about it called WN62, but the guy was named Heinrich Severloh, if you've ever heard of him. Have you? It's said that he probably inflicted about 1,000, maybe 2,000 casualties on American forces on D-Day, and he gained a nickname, the Beast of Omaha. And it's said that after the war, he reunited with an American chaplain that was shot 3 times on the beach, and they developed a friendship. And he passed away back in like 2006. I was just looking for YouTube. I see a video. I'm like, wait, Beast of Omaha. And I'm like, I got to watch this.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Nice.
So another question I have is, you mentioned earlier your father, he served in the First World War.
Yeah.
Yes. Both of my, I think, great-grandfathers, they were both World War I veterans too, but I think one of them was combat engineers, but we don't know much about their service. But
Yeah.
did you ever learn about what your father did, except crawling through the mud in
I
France?
didn't know very much about it. I was just saying a while ago, that he did. I always remember. He said he spent 1 year crawling through the mud in France. He was in a machine gun squad, and he told me one thing that really surprised me. I guess he said when the armistice was signed, the Germans treated them better than the French.
Interesting.
And so did you, whenever you were flying your missions in the Catalina or the B-24, did you ever fly alone, or did you fly with another plane, like in a group?
Alone. I was just strictly anti-submarine patrol. You're out there by yourself.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
I have a question.
hang on, my
Jack,
brain is.
You're thinking, Jack, how high are you off the water when you were searching for your anti-submarine mission? How high were you guys off the water? You guys pretty low in the water, or were you about? How high were you?
6. No, you're usually never no more than 8,000 feet. Around 5,000 or 6,000 feet, usually.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'm trying to think.
Okay, we got time for one more question, Adam. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. All right. So what would you have to say, like anything to the next generation?
What would I like to say? Well, I give a lot of presentations all over the country, son, and I always end my presentations by telling the group to stay in school, learn all they can. Education is so necessary today. It wasn't that necessary 100 years ago, when I grew up, but it is necessary now. Sometimes that's not enough, but stay in there, get all you can, and always remember that you live in the greatest nation in the world. It's not always right. It's not always what you expected. If you're working on something and it won't work, try it another way. There's always a way. And just don't forget that you live in the greatest country in the world.
I will never forget that. And I just want to say thank you for your service and what you did.
Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure talking to you too, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by, Adam.
You're welcome.
All right. And what a beautiful way to end. Jack, you said it perfectly. We really do live in the greatest country, and it's because of people like you who made that possible. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you and all your brothers did, brothers and sisters. And it's amazing. So, Jack, thank you so much for taking the time today to join us and tell your story and tell us about who you are and what you guys did. We appreciate it so much. And I know I want to have you back on because I know you have more to say. Like, we've been with you several times. You have so many good stories and so much good stuff to say.
I'll tell you two more things there, Austin.
Okay.
I started all this about 9 years ago. Prior to that, I never even told my golfing buddies I was a World War II veteran, let alone Pearl Harbor. This young lady here, Ruth, started asking me a lot of questions. And she said, you got to come out of the closet. You got to start talking to people. My first venture was aboard the Phoenix, Arizona, or the Arizona Honor Flight 2 to Washington, D.C. We made a stop in Detroit, and there was a throng of people 200 yards long lined up to greet our aircraft when we landed. And I began to see then there were still people out there that cared, still remembered. So that's where it all started. So, and and I've been asked, so many times, I guess since then, after all the presentations I've given, what do I get out of it? When these young kids stand up and I see when they're happy, it makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. And we like seeing you happy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. And that's what we try to put out there to other veterans, because there's so much love and appreciation for what you guys did. And, you've been to Europe before, you've been to the D-Day celebration. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of people there just to shake your hand and say thank you, and I think a lot of people here in the States, we don't really see that and they don't really understand it. And I'm really happy 9 years ago that you finally decide to, to face it, what you went through. And in the 9 years, I mean, I've been with you so many different programs, up to the top of Mount Suribachi and Iwo Jima to all over the place together with you. And I know what it means. I know what it means to you and your brothers. That's why we continue to do this with the Best Defense Foundation, by giving you guys an opportunity to go back with closure with your brothers at no cost. And that's how we operate. We're all volunteers and we just kind of pay it forward. And I know the impact that it has. As a matter of fact, Austin, we have the video from Pearl Harbor. You want to want to show that now, or?
No, we gotta get off. Jack's gotta go.
Oh, I got you. Roger that. But
we'll be premiering that, I think, 4th of July, right? We're working on that. Yeah.
The video's coming out from Pearl Harbor that you were part of this last program, and it's special. I mean, going back and watching the video and seeing you interact with the kids, I mean, that's what it's about, and it's truly an honor. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us. and we'll talk again soon.
Well, thank you, Donnie. You're doing a great job, and what you're doing is necessary, and you're doing a great job at it.
Thank you, sir. We'll keep going.
We, I just received an email 2 days ago I'm going to board the battleship Missouri on August 29th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you're coming with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did Anna call you, or Anna or Madison?
What's her name? Yan or
Yes.
I hear Ruth back there. I hear Ruth back there.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll be seeing you in August, though.
Yeah.
So,
And hopefully everything goes well. I mean, right now Hawaii is shut down, but we'll see. We'll just as long as it's safe and it's open, we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
But until then,
Okay.
we'll just be safe out there.
Thank both of you guys, Donnie and Austin.
all right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Where's
sir.
Ruth? Where's Ruth? Let me say bye to Ruth.
Where's Johnny? Is that Johnny?
Hmm.
Claire, I listened to it. It was great. Great. You
Yeah.
guys did a good job.
There you are.
All right.
Yeah, thanks to you, you started asking the questions to Jack, and I think it really gave him, completion and understanding, and be able to talk about it and share his story. I mean, if it wasn't for you, Ruth, I mean,
Right.
he holding
right.
on to you for such a long time.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Okay. You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Donnie.
He's a good
Good luck,
guy.
Everybody.
Love you guys. Have a great
Everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
All right.